Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
To all of my friends and associates and people that just know me through the radio, I have not lost my mind. Half of it just wandered off, and the other half went looking for it. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot. Call in. Come on, patriots. Don't be ashamed. Call that Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a great big spring tire sale going on right now, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, before we go any further, it's time for our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Please.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lorna Doone, God bless you, and thank you for your call. Lovely to hear from you. God bless and have a wonderful day.
And the same back to you.
Thank you. I love that lady. She is a sweetheart. Calls are welcome in a few minutes, but right now it's time for the weather forecast, and we get a chance to talk about Roger and the crew. Got to get Roger on the phone with us some morning and talk about everything for spring at K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. You couldn't miss them. Can't. Absolutely stands out. Best tools and equipment around, and that's K&R Rental. They get there early in the morning at 7 o'clock to serve you. Oh, if you have questions and you don't know what you need, all you need to do is call them at 678-3122, K&R Rental. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're going to have some spring showers for today. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Expecting mostly cloudy skies with a high of 64. A slight breeze out of the south at about 6 miles an hour. Could see gusts as high as 21 miles an hour. Chance of rain showers and thunderstorms as we make our way into the evening hours. More rain showers after midnight as well. Expecting a low of 39. Tomorrow, chance of rain showers in the morning, then a slight chance of thunderstorms by the afternoon. Partly sunny skies as we get to tomorrow afternoon as well. Expecting a high of 53. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 33. By Friday, slight chance of rain and or possibly snow showers in the early morning hours. Chance of rain showers by Friday afternoon. Partly sunny skies. Expecting a high of 50. Mostly cloudy for Friday night and a low of 32. And as we take a sneak peek at the weekend, looks like we will see some sunshine and highs in the mid to upper 50s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, my goodness. Yesterday was a beautiful day in the afternoon from like 2:30 on. Oh, my goodness. That was a spring day yesterday. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. And get ready for spring with all your projects. They've got all the tools and equipment at K&R Rental. Absolutely. Oh, my. We got a lot of things cooking today. And I want to touch on this real quick. There was a letter in the paper that absolutely was offensive And I find the Times News guilty of not looking closer at this letter before they printed it. Of course, the Times News, that's the Times News. But there was a letter put in there by a gentleman, and I use that term loosely, from Gooding, John Scarlett. And in this letter, he called the President of the United States an idiot on numerous times, called him dumb, called him a lying idiot. Then in one line he said, "This piece of blank," and then he left it and started going on, draft dodger, president, etc. You know, that kind of language was never used, I don't think, about Obama. I despised President Obama. I despised his presidency, and I despised his ideology and his politics. But to resort to that kind of language and say this piece of you-know-what in the paper, that's absolutely abhorrent. And this disturbed, uneducated Neanderthal, John Scarlett over in Gooding, I hope you're listening, or somebody tells you that I talked about you, because you are repulsive. Thank you. Right now, I want to remind you, too, about Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, they open the doors at 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. And they've got all, underline it, your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. And don't forget that they provide warm winters and cool summers. So the summer cooling coming on, you better make sure that your air conditioners and everything are ship-shape and ready to go and keep you cool. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric. They've got all the filters, etc. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. And that leads us up to our dear friends at Denny's Restaurant. Wow, America's done. I wish that right now, with the speed of maybe a drone or whatever, to pick it up, bring it over here, quick. Breakfast from Denny's. Man, I tell you, I love their breakfast. They've got all kinds of great meals for you, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all the time, anytime at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Delicious food, great people, and great service at Denny's Restaurant, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch at 611 North Overland in Burley. Wow, have we got some stories to talk about this morning? Let's start with this one because it absolutely, when I heard this yesterday, I thought I was hearing wrong and that it couldn't be. How, and I'll underline that word how, folks, you got to help me on this. How could a person that has been accused of 16 felony charges, 16 felony charges, and the case absolutely looks like a slam dunk that this man, Jussie Smollett, created, enhanced, and paid for a supposed beating by two weightlifting derelicts, to enhance Smollett's career, and he yells race charges, and the whole thing could have turned into a complete race war, and also the Make America Great Again slogan was used, and it was an anti-Trump type thing, and yesterday he walked. Literally. He walked away. All 16 felony charges are dropped. Whoa! Stop the bus, hit the brakes, and turn off the key. Let's talk about how this happened. Even a guy that I have absolutely not had any respect for, Rahm Emanuel, the outgoing mayor of Chicago, went out and said this is absolutely disgusting and a total injustice. And it's true. Smollett and his associates, which include a friendship with Barack and Michelle Obama. Oh, yeah. There was a call made to Michelle Obama's office. And there was a call made to Kamala Harris. The plot thickens. And then all of a sudden, this black man, this gay man, this Democrat, this wealthy man, Jussie Smollett, is free. He's free. He's out. He's out of there. Sayonara. But, there's one point that I want to make here, and I wonder if you've thought of it too. He was directed by the judge to perform hours of community service. Okay? Now, I know this isn't a big deal concerning all the money and everything, but think about this. If the judge said you got to commit these hours of community service, why would the judge commit him to community service if the judge at that juncture didn't agree that Smollett was guilty to some degree? And the police are absolutely scratching their head with all the time in the investigation, all the manpower that was put to this investigation that could have been used elsewhere, and the money spent. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then all of a sudden, this black, gay, wealthy Democrat walks. 16 felony charges, and he walks. It stinks. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Oh, lots of you maybe have had surgery over the winter to get ready for a bigger and better spring and summer. Well, it takes a little time to get all the muscles going and the aches and pains gone. Aching and paining, well, take care of it. Stomp into Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation and let their excellent professional physical therapist help you. Absolutely. A great staff. Also with that hydrotherapy pool, the only one of its kind in the area. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with the number 678-1191. You call and let them help you get back to being you. Real quick, too, I want to remind you about Rain for Rent. Where are the calls? I mean, certainly you people, if you got a big checkbook, are you above the law? Are you associated with people that have the means to kind of erase any naughtiness, and you're above the law, you can just walk? Is that what it is today? Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Jake and the crew over at Rain for Rent. These are good old boys serving you at Rain for Rent at 134 South 600 West of Paul. Yeah, buddy, write the number down. Write the number down. It's irrigation time, irrigation season, 438-5065. They get there early in the morning, and they're there to serve you. The Reinke Diamond Dealer, Rain for Rent, with a dedicated sales staff and service staff that really knows their products, and they know irrigation. Don't forget, get a hold of them today, 438-5065. Rain for Rent in Paul. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Yeah, but I'm not quite up to speed yet this morning, but this what you were just talking about reminds me of that wolf reintroduction plan that we came up with years ago, and this is just more adding to the problems we got in this country.
What subject are you on, Earl? I don't like to change subjects, but what are you on this morning? What are you talking about?
This gay guy that got away scot-free.
All right, well, what does that have to do with the wolf reintroduction? Tie the knot together so I understand quickly.
It makes just as much sense as when we brought them wolves into this country and brought problems onto our ranchers. They're letting this fellow out on the street and bringing more problems to this country out on the street.
Well, I agree with you there that I can't understand. I really can't understand how this guy could walk scot-free with his entourage after having 16 felony charges against him, some of which have not been discerned yet, especially those letters, those notes in the mail that supposedly Smollett wrote to himself of showing racism and hate with a picture on the cover of one envelope showing a black man being hung by a rope and everything. To me, that's all mail fraud and another one of the felonies that they haven't even decided yet.
Zeb, this is just down the same insane road we've been going, and that's why I brought up this Wolf reintroduction plan that came in here years ago. Made no sense at all. This doesn't make any sense at all, letting him off like this.
Well, the Wolf Reintroduction Program, and if you go back in the archives of this program, and I've got all the tapes and everything, was absolutely the most witless and stupid approach by the environmental movement that we were ever had forced upon us. And I wished every one of those wolves were not here, if you get my drift.
Yeah, and letting this guy off scot-free like this just adds to the problems for us.
You got it. Earl, it's good to hear from you. Take care up on the mountain this morning.
Will do. Bye.
All right, take care. Good man right there. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, big money evidently controls the law. Oops, the scales of justice just tipped over on the counter. Yeah, in favor of Jussie Smollett and anybody else that is black, gay, money-wise, or a Democrat. All of the above. Well, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox. Every Monday on the program, we give away a dozen delicious cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox. Oh, my goodness, what a bakery. They can bake anything, you know, the pies and the wedding cakes and the cookies and the muffins, and oh, my goodness, it's delicious. And they've got a great restaurant, too, at Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. You stop over and see those great, great people today. Delicious. All right, calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Certainly you must have thoughts about this because he forked over his $10,000 bond, gave it to the city of Chicago. Whoop-de-doo. And Jussie Smollett, with his sunglasses on and his entourage, walking down the streets of Chicago, a free man. A free man. All he did was do a couple of hours of public service volunteering, and he's back on his television show, Empire. The staff and the director and everyone with the television show has said, "Oh, Jussie's such a great guy. We're really glad to have him back." If you or I were accused, and it was kind of a slam dunk case after they looked at it, of 16 felony charges, would we be walking down the street wearing sunglasses with our entourage? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. And the answer to that would be no.
Can you believe this?
I don't. And you know, it's really messed up when the mayor of Chicago, who is a hard left guy, disagrees with it.
Holy moly. When I saw Rahm Emanuel and also the police commissioner and all the entourage of police people standing in the background with a look of great disgust and discernment on their faces, I've never heard of anything so whitewashed in my life. And I'll tell you what, the state prosecutor, she won't even take calls or questions. She ran and hid in the closet.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. She recused herself.
Yeah.
But she did not recuse the office she worked for. So her people that work for her were not going to do anything that she didn't want them to do.
It would take a person that has a mind of a very almost burned, dimmed out light bulb to not sit back and raise their eyebrows and say, oh, he or his staff got a hold of Obama's. He and his staff talked directly to the chief of operations for Michelle Obama's office. Oh, he and his staff got a hold of Kamala Harris. Something sounds fishy here.
It does. It really does. It's basically, it's a slap in the face at our judicial system. It is telling Americans, especially conservative Americans, that you don't matter, you don't count, and we don't care what you think.
Yeah, and that's really the truth, too. That's really the truth. And I'm going to throw in, and I know I'll get criticized over this because we have a liberal segment here in the Magic Valley that likes to listen to me and criticize me and damn and condemn me, which is fine. But the facts are this. Jussie Smollett had a career that was on the out. Empire was thinking about eradicating his character from the show. He is a black man. He is a gay man. He is a Democrat. He is of wealthy means, and he used that influence of wealthy means with his friends, Obama's and others, and he walked, baby. He walked.
Yes. And I feel there should be, the Justice Department should step in and review this, and basically those people responsible for twisting the arms of the people that did this should be held accountable.
Well, okay, let me ask you some questions. Doug, you're a sharp guy. Okay. You've always been a sharp guy and understand things. What about the check that was written to these two bodybuilders from Smollett? Is that not evidence? Please help me on that.
Well, he said it was for healthy, teach him how to eat healthy and work out.
Oh, okay. And what about the envelopes and the notes showing racism and the killing and hanging of a black man by a rope? What about that? Please help me on that.
That's just it. There's so much against this man, and yet he walks scot-free without even, and they sealed the records. That Sheriff David Clark had a comment on this, and he is livid. He says, I have never, in his 30-some years of police work, has seen something this racist.
Well, what about, okay, we talked about the envelope, we talked about the check. Oh, gee, let's talk about the investigation itself. Let's talk about all the man-hours. Let's talk about all the police that were assigned to find out about this so-called hate crime, this racist hate crime, and all the investigation, all the money spent. The Chicago Police Department could have been doing something else.
I know it, and that's it. They took man-hours away from actual crimes in a city that needs more policemen and more people to make their residents safe. Take man-hours away on a hoax, and the guy just escaped. When I heard that, I went, what?
Yeah, and let me throw something else at you. With the racial turmoil that's going on in this country that I think, quite frankly, and I'm not going to be hedging on this, that is being fueled by the blacks themselves, or the Negroes, if you will. Not all of them, but a large percentage of them that, like the Jesse Jacksons, etc., they're fueling, and the Al Sharptons and people like that just absolutely love the turmoil because that's how they make their money. Just supposing that this would have erupted in Chicago into a great, huge clash, race war over a nothing burger that was caused just for publicity purposes. Jussie Smollett should be in jail right now without the key being anywhere near the cell door.
Exactly. It'd be like Ferguson all over again.
Oh, my.
And that was a nothing burger. That was a total lie. And look where it went. But look who was in charge at that time. Who was in the Oval Office? And who was fueling it?
Yep. No, I tell you what, I've never heard, and I'm an old man, but please help me, you young whippersnapper. I have never heard of a case where there are 16 felony charges filed. The case absolutely looked like a slam dunk according to the investigators, the police, etc., and the guy walks overnight?
Yeah, it's called out of that one old movie. I can't remember the movie, but the guy goes, it's the political two-step.
There you go. Doug, thank you. Give us your spiel real quick about the senior center.
You betcha. Everybody, let's do what we can. Let's support them. Go eat there. That helps them get more money. The more people that eat at a senior center, it gets them more money to help support the seniors. And donate for the Meals on Wheels.
Absolutely.
Those people that are homebound, they need it. They built this country, so let's take care of them.
You got it. And besides that, the food's doggone good.
Yeah.
All right, Doug. Thank you much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Don't forget our friends at Ark Animal Hospital. And by the way, this morning I'm going to ask the audience if we're coming through okay on your radio. We've had some technical problems between the studio and me. It doesn't go on the air. It doesn't go on the air. It's between studio and me, 35 miles distance, with maybe some of the wiring or something that's not working right. But let me know if you're having any troubles. Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Oh, boy, you better write the number on your refrigerator in big black letters. Big, bold letters, 678-1177. Yep, 678-1177. Dr. Bill and the entire crew serving you. Absolutely. They've got everything to take care of your dogs, kitty cats, your dairy cattle, horses, everything, and they want your animals healthy. So please get a hold of them today. Ark Animal Hospital, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I'm on the way to the Burley Senior Center for lunch. They're having roast beef, mashed potatoes and gravy, mixed vegetables. There'll be some salad there, and they're going to have all kinds of cake.
Well, now, whoa, you can't do that. All kinds of cake. You're the yummy man. You've got a prestigious honor of sitting up and saying what kind of yummy cake.
Oh, they're going to have white cake, chocolate cake, and cake with frosting, and all kinds of cake.
You got off the hook there, buddy. Joe, love you. All right, buddy, take care. Joe Taylor, and going over to the Senior Center on Overland. And don't forget lunch today at noon. Going to be good. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. You know, if we would start boycotting these actors and actresses that are causing so much havoc and discontent, maybe they would think twice about trying to make phony accusations. That little man, he should be in jail, no doubt about it. What he did was totally asinine.
Let me ask you a question, Donna. If you signed a contract with a television production company and a network to be on their network show, and you're not one of the principal star players, but you're part of the supporting cast, and your contract is for $700,000 per episode. Per episode, not per season. Per episode as a supporting cast member. Wouldn't you think that maybe that puts you into the elitist style for money earning and money talks, and the rest of us just do the walking?
Well, me personally, I would thank the good Lord that I had a job.
No, you're missing my point. You're missing my point.
Oh.
This, at $700,000 per episode, Jussie Smollett has lost touch with reality as to how real people think and how real people have to react to certain episodes or certain circumstances in life. And so, hey, yeah, I'll bail myself out. Here's the $10,000 bail money. You want that? Keep it. I don't need it. I get $700K per episode, and I'm walking. The Obamas are my friends, and so is Kamala Harris. This is what I'm getting at. Money talks, and the rest of us walk.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
there's no way that he should be out walking the streets, playing the happy-go-lucky. He should be in jail, and so should his backers.
I just can't imagine. When I heard this, I don't know what your reaction was. Wheels, a little feedback on there. I don't know what your reaction was, Donna, but I thought, whoa, somebody's got that story wrong. Because with 16 felony charges and unanswered federal charges by the U.S. Postal Service with those letters that were sent and everything, they couldn't let him out. He can't just walk, but he did.
Yeah, well, it's like you said, money talks. And if you're a leftist, there isn't anything you can't get away with in this country anymore. And it's really sad because we're falling apart. And nobody wants to stand up and say, dadgummit, enough is enough. Let's go back to where we originated from and get this country going on the right track again.
So you would agree with me, and I've taken a lot of heat on that. You can't believe some of the people in this area, they frustrate me because I think maybe they're still burning leaves in a cave someplace. I have had people complain about my tagline at the end of the program where I say the way things were are the way things ought to be. When I say that every day, I mean we've got to get back to a sense of morality. We have to get back to a sense of right and wrong, and that's what it means. But these people, they really criticize me for saying that.
Well, I'm right there with you. You're totally right on, right on the spot. And if they don't understand what you're talking about, it's their loss.
Well, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But it makes me wonder, when we look at, Donna, you and I are, well, you're quite a bit younger than I am. I'm going to be very polite. Why, you're just a kid compared to me. But, okay. But, when you think back, when we were kids, the respect for our parents, the respect for our elders, the respect for situations, the Saturday Evening Post type cover of going to church hand in hand and enjoying a Sunday dinner together as a family. Hey, man, that is gone. We've lost that. Why have we lost it? Because we're not the way things were and the way things used to be. We've lost respect in this country.
Yes, we have. We've lost all respect. We've lost our morality. And like I said, if we don't all stand up and say enough is enough, we're taking it back. I don't know where we're headed.
I do. You do too. So say it. You know where we're headed. Well, I'm not trying to be funny with you. I'm just being honest. You know doggone well where we're headed. We're headed to that open chasm, and if you want to say the words, we're headed to hell. Yeah, we're on the highway to hell because we've lost our morality, we've lost our personality, and we've lost the difference between right and wrong. Call it like it is, Donna. Oh, she's gone. Don't hang up on me. Wheels, what happened? Did you punch the button?
I'm not sure. Hopefully she'll call back in.
Well, that's okay. Donna's a good friend of mine, and she agrees with me, so I think everything's cool there. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you about the new Green Deal. It's in the wastebasket this morning. Rightfully so. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Don't forget Berry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts, and they are looking for new technicians. That's right. If you love to work around heavy equipment, love to work with your hands, and just love working for a growing, expanding business, hey, you better get a hold of Berry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. The best of equipment rentals and retail equipment sales. I guarantee you better get a hold of them today. Berry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hello there. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I pushed a button or somebody else pushed a button.
I thought you got mad at me and said, the heck with that conservative cowboy.
Oh, that ain't never going to happen. Our personalities are too much alike.
Hey, thanks for calling back and letting us know because I didn't want to seem rude to you, and I appreciate it, Donna. Thank you so much.
Oh, no. I just wanted to say one thing, Zeb. You asked where we're headed. Well, my younger brother lives in Canada, in Alberta, and they have socialized medicine. He's been diagnosed with a possible prostate cancer. He has to wait 4 months to get in to get a test done, and then God only knows how long before he can get a treatment start.
You know something? I'm so glad you brought this up, because we're going to do a segment on this next week. I'm trying to get Dr. George from Atlanta, Georgia, back on my program. The one-size-fits-all type of health care that socialized medicine would bring to this country, led by the charges of Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders and others, absolutely would kill and cripple and devastate the healthcare industry and the service to the people that need it. And Donna, to your brother, God's blessings, and I hope things go better. Thank you so much for your call. Appreciate it. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The new Green Deal, put forth by the snippy, little uneducated Alexandria, I'm biting my tongue. There's a lot of things I want to say. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, that would have cost the American public $93 trillion minimum. Well, the Senate had a vote on it yesterday, and there's a good side and a bad side. Caller, I'll be right there. The good side is it went down 57-0. 57-0. The bad side is the Democrats just voted present. All the Democrats didn't have the guts to stand up for a yes vote or a no vote, so they just voted present. That shows me that they are nothing but cream cheese, milk toast, nothings. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. Listened to you a little bit earlier about respect and this situation, just a topic you brought up now. When the people lost respect for themselves through their moral values and the way they treated themselves, they lost respect for everybody else and everything. It didn't matter. Just hopefully some people, it matters. It matters to me. So there are people out there. And this Cortez lady, if I'm not mistaken, she was bartending up before somebody said, hey, why don't you run for a political position and we'll back you, because she doesn't know her head from her foot half the time.
Well, and Riley, you're so on the money about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She doesn't have the intelligence factor. She doesn't have the wherewithal. She doesn't have anything to be telling the Democratic Party, I am your leader, follow me.
I don't know where she gets her knowledge, and she needs to go back to her college and get a refund, or get our refund back, because she didn't learn a damn thing. All right, I didn't go to college. I'm not knocking people who go to college, but come on, when you come out of there and you get a degree, you should know something. Am I right?
Riley, you could not have said a better line this morning. She needs to go back to her school and get a refund. Thank you for your call. I got to get a weather forecast in. I'm going to remember that line. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. She ought to go back to her school and get a refund. Absolutely. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez thought that it would be high time. Mike Lee of Utah presented a chart system yesterday in the Senate showing how absolutely devastatingly stupid the new Green Deal would be. And he showed a picture of how we'd get to Hawaii on the back of a wooden little bitty ship. It was with Aquaman. I thought I was going to die laughing. And he really showed the stupidity and the lack of thinking by the Democrats and the environmentalists in this country today. I hope with a 57-0 vote that the Bill de Blasios of New York and all these others will just sit back and please shut up. Time for the weather, brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they're located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, easy to find, and the number to call, 312-0957. You know, excess body weight can contribute to many, many diseases, and it can also change and alter the blood flow, and your hearing could be damaged. You'd better check out any one of the number of reasons as to why your hearing has diminished. Please make an appointment today at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. That number, 312-0957. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're going to have some spring showers for today. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Expecting mostly cloudy skies with a high of 64. A slight breeze out of the south at about 6 miles an hour. Could see gusts as high as 21 miles an hour. Chance of rain showers and thunderstorms as we make our way into the evening hours. More rain showers after midnight as well. Expecting a low of 39. Tomorrow, chance of rain showers in the morning, then a slight chance of thunderstorms by the afternoon. Partly sunny skies as we get to tomorrow afternoon as well. Expecting a high of 53. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 33. By Friday, slight chance of rain and or possibly snow showers in the early morning hours. Chance of rain showers by Friday afternoon. Partly sunny skies. Expecting a high of 50. Mostly cloudy for Friday night and a low of 32. And as we take a sneak peek at the weekend, looks like we will see some sunshine and highs in the mid to upper 50s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Durant.
Woo, bring it on, bring it on. Love that forecast. Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you this hour by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Again, located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, 312-0957. Call for a hearing screening today. Did you hear, and I think this is a very, very important story, and I'm going to be carrying more about this in the days ahead. But a New York City school system has decided that they are declaring an emergency, and they are barring and banning any unvaccinated children from their public schools and public events. Now think about that for a minute. An executive order that is going to stop 6,000 unvaccinated children from going to school because they have had, in this respective school district, a severe outbreak of measles. And the declaration highlighted the desperation of public officials to control the spread of a disease they have so far struggled to halt. I am adamantly in favor, and I'm going to bring this up almost every day from now on, in favor of banning and barring anybody that is unvaccinated from being in our school systems. I think it's a tragedy. I think it's a time bomb. And I think it's absolutely a disrespect to other families and other children. We are seeing severe diseases in this country rear their heads and come back. And the idiocy that some people portray, like saying, well, I don't want to vaccinate my kids because those diseases are all dead and gone anyway, that is the dumbest, underline that thing I've ever heard. We're even seeing a resurgence of various strains of polio. How are these strains going to develop like a cancer? How are these things going to go from city to city, state to state, community to community? Because of children not being vaccinated and parents not being parents. If you're offended by that or agree, give me a call. One way or the other, I'd welcome your call. Hey, don't forget the Calvin and Fern Crawford auction that's going to be put on by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Oh, my goodness sakes, that's coming up this Saturday at 11 o'clock in Filer at 4200 North, 2400 East. From the northeast side of Filer by Pole Line Road, go to 2400 East for 1 mile and look for the signs of the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Lunch by the Cook Shack, and the sale starts at 11 o'clock this Saturday. Antiques and collectibles like a Farm Master cream separator, large John Deere corn shellers in really good shape, shop equipment, and all kinds of miscellaneous items. This is the Kelvin and Fern Crawford auction in Filer this Saturday at 11 o'clock, put on by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Calls are welcome. You know, there are those in the audience, there are those in this area that cringe every time I talk about vaccination programs. That's all right. That's all right. Because I'm not going to weaken. I think all children to be in school need to be vaccinated. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, I just wanted to say, not getting people vaccinated against these diseases is the surest way to cause a mass pandemic or epidemic, which could in the end, wipe out millions.
I don't think there's any question as to the severity and the outreach that this could cause in a couple of years, because we have a population that is growing thanks to a borderless system of letting illegals into our country and taking up residence, and they have no concept of health or vaccination programs. What you just said, I think, is absolutely the truth.
A lot of these illegals that are coming in are bringing a lot of these diseases with them.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be long before those diseases permeate through the whole population, and we start seeing a lot of people suffering and dying because of it.
Absolutely. You know, caller, I appreciate the way you said that, and the use of the word permeate. Yes, it's going to grow, it's going to spread, it's going to become a huge negative umbrella on our entire society. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yep, I'll see you at lunch, KZ.
All right, buddy. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, I'm not going to weaken on this. I think that what they did in New York absolutely is essential. The kids will not go to school. They will not be allowed at community events unless they are vaccinated. Okay? Evidently, you're sitting there seething and mad, but you won't call in. I'd love to hear from you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. That leads me to another related subject, and this just blows my mind. I can't picture this. 3,700 illegal aliens tried to crash and basically stomp their way into our country, the United States, in one day. In one day. And they were captured by the Border Patrol and held, but the Border Patrol is just absolutely overwhelmed. It's a crisis. 3,700 people in one day. What is that, half the population of Burley? In one day? Just marched up and they said, well, we're going to invade the United States whether you like us or not. Here comes the Border Patrol, and they are absolutely over and undermanned, I should say, and overwhelmed. And the Democrats, these silly, frivolous Democrats, it's not a crisis. It's not an emergency. And to think that you might vote for these people? Are you kidding me? Caller, I've got 1 minute, and then I got to do a commercial. Go, quickly.
You bet. These parents that do not immunize these kids should be brought up on child abuse.
I agree.
That's what it is.
I agree. You're not saying anything to me. You're the choir, and I guess I'm with you in the choir, because I absolutely think it's child abuse. I think that it's causing social ills and a social problem. They should be brought up on charges of being dangerous to the community. There's 1,000 things I could think of in the long run to say against parents and against these families, because they're putting the general public at risk.
Exactly. And I heard that they weren't allowed, these kids that aren't immunized could not come out into public places.
No, I just said that a minute ago, Doug.
Yeah.
And I stand behind it. I mean, like, I don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to take names? Are they going to take fingerprints? I don't know if they're going to contact the families. I don't know what they're going to do to legislate this, but I'm in favor of it. Hey, your kids aren't vaccinated. You better figure out how to homeschool there, Charlie, because they're not coming into the school system.
Exactly.
And you know what, Doug? Every one of us should say to Representative Fred Wood, Kelly Anthon, our senator, Speaker of the House, I don't care who they are, we should demand the same thing here in the state of Idaho.
Exactly. Exactly, my friend. God bless.
I got to run. Thank you. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a big spring tire sale. Wow, you can save money. Wow, you can get the best of tires, all the different tread designs, all the sizes for your car, your pickup, your SUV, horse trailer, whatever, and save money. You better get in there today. All 7 locations serving you. And also, with the best of brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries, the best. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wheels, I'm late. Take it away for the news. Oh, my. Good morning and welcome back. Hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch, and of course with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations with a big spring tire sale going on right now. And don't forget to some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, Wheels, this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Let's talk a little bit about the route service. Yesterday we talked about, the Go Minis, and we talked about all the other options, the porta potties. Let's talk a little bit about the route service. You know, maybe you're new in the area, and maybe you say, well, gee, what am I going to do with all this garbage? Well, you just call them at 734-6969. Western Waste Services, get on the route service. Once a week they come by, get your garbage. It's gone. Goodbye. And it's so easy. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, 734-6969. I want to take the time to mention about our friends over at Patterson's. Wow. Deanne talked to them the other day, Curtis and Lorena at Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. Woo, man, they've got a lot of this stuff because I'm not technologically advanced. I'm not sure about all this, but I'm telling you what, I know you can save money. I know you can get the best of TVs. I know you can get the best of complete sound systems. I know you can get the very best of home theater systems. And they've got free amp kit with the purchase of Memphis sub and amp setups. You know what that is. I'm going to learn because I'm going to go in and have Curtis tell me. At Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. They're open 9 to 6 Monday through Saturday. The very best. And don't forget, they deliver and they install in the Burley area. Thank you, Patterson's in Burley. Also, a big thank you and a shout-out to our friend Joel Heward. You know, that is one of the nicest, friendliest persons that I've ever had a chance to work with and be around. Joel Heward, his family, and his staff at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. You know, no one wants to think about death. No one wants to think about dying, and it's just a part of life. And quite frankly, we all should get the information on pre-planning funerals to help alleviate a lot of the stress and worry for our families. And with Hanson Mortuary, they always uphold the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please call them today, 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. I have not had a chance to visit with this lady, but I was told by another lady that we were going to give her a call and find out all about something that's going on at the Mary Library. I hope I said that correctly. And we welcome to the program a lady by the name of Crystal Waters. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Zeb?
Not too bad. Do we know each other? Your name sounds really familiar.
Well, that's what everyone says.
Oh. And by the way, you don't go by that name. You go by the nickname O, right?
I do.
And, you know, I'm not going to give away your number, but I was surprised. And the person I talked to this morning, I said, I have never seen a phone number with so many O's or zeros in it. And then she said, well, that's not the best of it. She goes by the nickname O. So there you are. Can I call you O on the air?
Thank you so much.
All right. Tell us a little bit about what your project is and what you'd like to promote this morning. I've got about 10 minutes here. Go ahead.
Well, we've created an event that is called Focus on the Youth. The performance... We have Gary Shoresman, who is an amazing man. He's going to be our MC, and... It's to focus on the kids' talent in the community.
Okay. Now, let's back up and start from the get-go. When is this event going to take place? Where is this event going to take place? And then let's build on it from there.
Okay, so the event is April 5th and 6th.
Okay.
Next weekend.
All right, and where is it going to be?
It is at the Wilson Theater in Rupert.
Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about what the event is as far as who's going to be the star, what's the entertainment going to be. We know Gary Shoresman, my dear, dear friend, is going to be the MC. Build on it from there, Crystal.
The stars are the kids, really. We opened it up to the community for the kids to be able to participate and perform and show their talent. We also have a Holocaust room that will be upstairs for the kids in the school district. There's a place for you to show your artwork, sculptures.
Okay, now.
Talent.
Okay, now, Crystal, stop for a minute. What do you mean there's going to be a Holocaust room? Explain that.
Well, one of the classrooms in the school district had created these Holocaust projects. And so we've gathered them all together, and we're going to put them on to display.
So you're talking about going back to pre-World War II and during World War II? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the main theme of these rooms? To help educate and inform the public about the reality and the horrors of the Holocaust? Is that what you're trying to do?
For one room, yes. Mostly just to display their talent.
Okay. And what about the other room that you were talking about?
The top of the building is open to all of the artwork for the art teachers, all of the kids that have created beautiful artwork. The idea of the event is just to be able to take a moment to focus on the talent or their passions in the school district.
Okay, so it's going to be basically artwork. What about musical ability or anything like that? Is that going to also be on display?
Yes, they will be performing up on the stage.
Okay. Now, who's all going to be there? What kids qualify?
Anybody that is under the age of 18 that lives in the Minidoka County. And we do have a few spots that are still open if there are people that would like to join.
Okay. And do they have to prove that they can play a guitar or a trumpet or an accordion or whatever? I mean, who's going to discern whether or not they can be part of the talent?
Well, they're talented. So, it takes courage for them to be able to want to participate. Two, it's just to focus on them and to highlight them. So there isn't really a competition to be able to get in.
Well, no, I didn't mean it that way, but some people can say, well, my grandson Terry can sit there and play the accordion better than Lawrence Welk, and when he gets up on stage, he doesn't even know where the keys are. Is somebody going to discern who's good and who's bad?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Allow him his space to perform.
Okay. And everybody's going to then grin and bear it, right?
With a smile on their face.
That a girl. Well, now tell me, what about proceeds? Are you going to charge for this? What's going to happen here?
Well, the students are selling tickets for $5 each to be able to get into both days on the event.
Okay.
Or you can pay at the door, and the proceeds for the student tickets, they go back to the kids to be able to continue their education.
Okay.
And the ones at the door, the tickets at the door for $10, they go to the DeMary Library.
Okay, under the purpose of doing what for the library?
To be able to help the kids.
Okay.
There's a summer reading program that they've talked about the funds going to.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the library. Is it alive and well and thriving, and everybody loves to read and goes to the library, and there's lines waiting to check out books? What's going on with the library?
I'm not really so sure. I'm a member of the Friends of the DeMary Library, so we're a small organization that we are a place that you can donate your books to, and we sell our books for 25 cents to 50 cents.
Okay. What is the
better the community?
Okay, well, I was going to say, what's the purpose of having your organization, Friends of the DeMary Library? I mean, what are you trying to accomplish? You get together every month and you say, hey, we need a fundraiser, or hey, we're going to do this. What do you do?
Well, we raise money for the library. We have Saturday book sales. We're open from 12 to 4. The money that we raise, it benefits the library.
Okay. Now, do you have children in school that are going to be participating?
They will be front and center. I have their seats already.
Oh, my goodness. Do they play an instrument, or do they draw, or what do they do?
They draw. My children are not old enough yet.
Oh, I see. Okay. So this is going to be on April 5th and 6th, and it's going to be, you said, at the Wilson Theater, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what time?
April 5th is from 5 till 9 p.m.
Okay.
And April 6th is 11 to 9 p.m.
11. Holy smokes, they're going to put in a big day.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's at the Wilson Theater, and if they need more information, how can they get a hold of anybody?
Well, that's where you can leak my number.
Oh, go ahead. Give it loud and proud.
208-300-0070.
Did you ask for that number, or was it just given to you?
The universe provided it.
Oh my goodness, you're not one of those, are you? Okay, the universe provided it. All right, Crystal Waters, we thank you for being on the program this morning. Is there anything else you want to tell us about this talent and art show?
Just make sure you're there.
All right. All right, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it, Crystal. God bless. Have a good day. Thank you.
You too, dear. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. I don't know what she called me there at the end, but I'll take it. Good morning, everybody. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget on Mondays, and I honestly don't know what's happening as far as the stopping or termination of the legislative session in Boise as to whether or not they're going to be going again next Monday, or if they're going to try to wrap things up this weekend. I am going to be talking after the show today to Representative Fred Wood to find out all the skivvy on what's being done, what's being finalized, what might throw a fly into the plate of milk for next week. We've got other sponsors waiting to come on, and we don't know, but we think we're going to have another legislative update Monday at 10:30, brought to you by Handy Truck Lines, 400 West, 100 South of Paul. Clay Handy and the entire operation, serving the Northwest for over 90 years. Our sponsor of the Idaho Legislative Update. And as soon as I hear whether or not they're still in session, we will let you know. Calls welcome. Please give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This is something that is going to concern all of us. This is something that is going to possibly cost us a lot more money. I am not sold on this idea. I am not going to advocate for this idea. And I'm really going to do some detective work and find out how much more this is going to cost you and me and everybody else by Idaho Power going all clean energy by 2045. I question the sanity of this. They say that in 26 years, all of their energy will come from hydro, solar, geothermal, wind, and biomass production. With the instability and the unreliability of solar and wind, I am very, very tentative about those two processes supplying enough power on a regular basis, a needed basis, to do the job. And I think we, the consumers, even though I might not be around in that period of time, I think we're going to see a huge increase, excuse me, of our monthly power rates. I don't like the idea of massive amounts of land being subjected to solar panels. Every time I drive by that solar farm factory up by Mountain Home, it kind of makes me a little queasy and uneasy. And every time I see those cancers on the landscape, the wind turbines, same feeling. I think we're going to rue the day. And you can put this down and say, Zeb Bell said this at 9:21 on March 27th. I think we're going to rue the day that we looked at wind and solar and all the land that it destroyed and the different wildlife habitat that it destroyed. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Some people are saying, well, Idaho Power is going to cringe when you say that. That's all right. They can call. They've got telephones. They can come out. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. What can I say that has not been said before? Well, let's take a look. Let's just tell everybody about their furniture. You know, maybe your couch is kind of looking a little threadbare and worn, and maybe your dining room table set looks like it went through a college party for 30 years. Maybe you'd better upgrade, beautify, and comfortize your home with new furniture. Well, it's all there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. I mean, they've got all the recliners. I mean, they've got a whole herd of recliners, all the different shapes and sizes, let me tell you. And they've got absolutely the best of love seats and sofas, everything at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see my friend Jeff and the rest of the crew today. How about some calls? Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yeah, I am not a fan. Never will be, because of the total unreliability of wind and solar as a power source that's not going to cost us more in the future. We will see. We will see. But I think our education may be very costly. Calls are welcome. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This story, I honestly couldn't believe this. that a bride would go up to a gentleman that was in full dress uniform at her wedding. He was invited as a guest, and it was a black tie optional wedding. And this, I believe he was a Marine. Yes, he was a Marine. Showed up in his full dress uniform. And the bride was absolutely livid. He can't do that! Because most of the attention was focused on him. And a lot of the people in the wedding, after the service, they wanted to have their picture taken with this young man in his full dress Marine uniform. And the bride got mad, and she asked the Marine to leave. And I could not believe the public response to this story. The bulk of the public response was that the military man wearing his military uniform was blankety blank for showing up at a wedding dressed like that. Well, we don't know if he had orders to wear that when he was out on the streets, per se. We don't know all the particulars, but this young man showed up at the wedding wearing a full dress military uniform, and the bride went bonkers because most of the attention was taken away from the bride, and many of the people wanted to have their picture taken with him and congratulate him for serving our country. And the bride said, "That's enough!" And she threw him out. Now, nowhere in this story, is a mentioning of the groom. Now, for some strange reason, I've got a picture in my mind's eye of the groom wearing dark-rimmed, horned-rimmed glasses with his hair parted and slicked down, a real wussy, nerdy type that didn't have the guts to stand up to his new bride, his new wife, and say, "Sweetheart, that military person is a friend of mine and now ours, and he will stay at this wedding." But there's no mention of him. There's no mention of the guy saying, "Hey, wait a minute. This man is fighting and serving our country. This man was decent enough to come as a guest to our wedding after he was invited. He wore his military uniform, and we're proud to have him here." No. The bride got mad because the attention was taken off her, and she threw him out. What are your thoughts? Quickly. I want to hear somebody call me on this and give me your opinion on this. Oh, my. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. Calls welcome. Come on, give me a jingle real fast. I want to remind everybody while I'm waiting about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Oh, my goodness. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And they've got all those four-wheelers crammed into that showroom floor. Outstanding job of parking. I don't know how they did that. And they've got a four-wheeler that just is what you're looking for. So stop over there today. And along with all the four-wheelers, they've got, of course, all the accessories and a super service department. All of this at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. If you ask me, that lady sounds sort of narcissistic.
Are you kidding?
That's putting it mildly, of course.
When I heard that story about the bride telling the military man to leave the wedding festivities, I mean, it knocked me on my hip pockets. I couldn't believe anybody being so brazen.
I know, and just simply because it took some attention away from her.
Oh, absolutely.
Talk about a crybaby.
Oh, I could not. I'm so glad to hear you say that, because when I heard that, I thought, well, they're taking pictures of this military man, and they're not devoting all their attention and their oohs and ahs at me, the beautiful bride. Oh, my gosh, it made me sick.
You know, it sounds like she's in the same kind of category as the the lady that ran for president recently.
Oh, you're not talking about Hillary, are you?
You guessed.
All right, thank you for your call.
Same type of person.
All right, thank you for your call. I appreciate it. Now, I just think this whole story is just so repugnant to think that this gentleman in full Marine dress uniform goes to the wedding to honor the wedding and the husband and new wife, and he's thrown out, asked to leave by the bride because she's not getting all the attention. Wow. Oh, double wow. Let's go to the phone line. First of all, let me check with Wheels to make sure he's got our next guest ready to go. Wheels, old buddy, old pal, old man that dials the numbers and calls the people. Do we have our friend with us?
Yes, sir, we do.
You're an old man, and you're not even 24 years old yet, are you?
I'm 25 now.
Oh,
I'm creeping up there.
Why, you've got one foot on a banana peel and the other in the grave.
No kidding.
All right. So thank you very much. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk to the Assistant Chief Counsel during the Watergate hearings. This ought to be good. And he's also the author of the book Moses versus Trump, a contemporary novel. We got to find out more about this. David Dorson, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Well, you deserve it. You sound like a nice guy.
Thank you very much.
Right.
I try to be.
David, I don't know you. You don't know me. I don't know your book. So give us about 2 minutes of how great this book is and what it's about.
Well, the book is Moses v. Trump, available on Amazon for $15.95. It's a book about a libel case brought by... I'll tell the secret. It's Ira Moses, who is a New York lawyer, hence the title, against Donald Trump and an evangelical magazine, hence the title Moses v. Trump. It's a it's a fun book to read. It's about how libel cases do work with some interesting characters who populate the book, including a judge who chases after women lawyers who come to appear before him. It's a book that's been praised by Derek Bach, who was the president of Harvard and dean of Harvard Law School, John Dean, and perhaps most important for me, Frank Serpico, the New York City detective who got shot in the line of duty and who is a great campaigner and fighter against corruption. So it's a fun book. It has populated with interesting people. The story has twists and turns. People who read Scott Turow or who watch Law and Order, I think will find it a pleasant read, a fun read. It has some bizarre scenes and situations, and it's just a book that drew upon a lot of my experience because I represented in libel suits John Dean and General William Westmoreland. So I've had a fair amount of experience, and I was an assistant U.S. attorney for 5 years. So I put everything that I could into a novel in the hopes that people would enjoy it.
Well, it sounds like a really interesting book, and of course, you've drawn from the current day experiences of what's going on with President Trump and this administration, and I've got to ask you, I mean, sure, I want to help sell your book, I'll do all I can on that, but I've got to ask you this, as a former Assistant Chief Watergate Committee prosecutor, that's a mouthful, what are your thoughts about what we, the American public, have suffered through for the last 2 years with the Mueller investigation?
Well, my view is it's part of being a democracy. We have a system under which nobody is above the law, and that competent and responsible prosecutors have the obligation to take the investigations where the evidence takes them. And the fact that one investigation may result, as the one I worked on did, in the resignation excuse me, of a president, and the other resulted in far, far less, it's just part of the system. And I think people should accept the system. Excuse me, 1 second. Should accept the system and not demean it or attack it, as I see President Trump doing a bit, saying we have to get to find out who caused this, so
it won't happen again. Well, if it won't happen again, it wouldn't have happened before, perhaps, and we would never have found Richard Nixon. So my view is that this is the price we pay. People get hurt, but on the other hand, to say we're not going to investigate the president, I find more unacceptable.
David, I take issue.
We're hurt, but it's just if people get acquitted in criminal cases, and we don't start investigating the prosecutors, and I think a certain amount of goodwill and let's move on with it is called for on behalf of everybody.
David, I take issue with you, and this is a talk show, and so we're going to have a give and take on this. I take issue with the fact that you're comparing what's going on with the Trump administration and the collusion the same as Nixon, and I'll tell you why. With Nixon, there was a crime committed. It was called Watergate. There was a crime to investigate, and there were perpetrators that created more fingers from this crime. However, in the case of Donald Trump, the left and the Democrats tried to create a crime like whack-a-mole, and there was never anything, and still isn't anything, that anybody has been accused of or indicted for.
Oh, that's not true. You have to just look at Manafort and George Papadopoulos.
Most of Manafort's were all not connected to the...
was that Russia interfered with our election in violation of the election laws, and people have been indicted and convicted. Now, the question that was raised was whether there was collusion on the part of the administration that presumably and supposedly benefited from that interference, so that there was a crime. And just like with Nixon, there was a crime committed by burglars and others, and the question was, did it go up to and include Nixon? Here there was a crimes committed with respect to foreign involvement by the Russians, who had contact, the perpetrators had contact with Americans, and the question is who was involved.
Yeah, but on the other side of that scale, and I can't let you ramble on...
Frankly.
David, I got to have a chance to jump in on you here a little bit. Number one, the perpetration of the so-called collusion was led by Hillary Clinton and her campaign, and was okayed initially by the Obama administration, and that came straight from the mouth of James Clapper. So when you want to go back and start pointing fingers at everybody, why not point fingers at the Democrats also?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure I agree with your characterization, but let's take that as a reasonable interpretation of the facts. Let's investigate them. First of all, there were some investigations by the FBI, and if you want more investigations, investigate, but it should be for criminal activity, the kind you describe, rather than to find out and punish people who brought allegations, whistleblowers who brought allegations against the president.
Well, wait a minute. It is criminal. It is criminal, David, because according to what I've learned in my civics classes and everything, the executive office, the president at that time, Obama, can't really enlist the FBI or the DOJ to go after a campaign and a political aspirant to be the president of the United States, which happened. That's illegal.
That's where I disagree with you. I don't see the evidence of that. I really don't.
Well, I don't see the evidence of what Trump did wrong with collusion. Collusion is not an illegality. It's a word that's used every day now in negativity, but collusion is not illegal.
I agree with you. And I don't know why you suggest that President Obama acted illegally or may have acted illegally.
Well, it goes back to the White House, according to the staff reports and people that I've talked to in Washington, D.C., and James Clapper stated emphatically, and I've got it here in my notes, that this investigation started with the Obama and the administration in the White House. So, I mean, how much more of a point in the finger do you need?
Well, let me say this, a couple of things. First of all, I'm not sure exactly what that means. Second of all, the President of the United States disagrees all the time with assessments by his intelligence chiefs, and this one may be wrong too.
You know, there is room for error on both parties in what took... I was just going to say, David, there's room for marginal error on both parties over the last 2 years. However, for people that have come out like John Brennan with the CIA, and emphatically stated that Donald Trump is a traitor to this country, that was as low a blow as could be thrown. And then after he learns that there was no collusion, John Brennan says, oh, I must have been fed bad information. That's idiocy.
Well, that's what happened in weapons of mass destruction too. I'm not defending Brennan. I think he was excessive in his statements. I just don't like that kind of language. I believe in give and take, moderate statements, which you can prove. But I don't, and so I don't agree with that. But again, now President Trump is saying the people, and I watched this on Fox, which I do watch, even though I'm a liberal. He said that the people who made allegations against him were traitors. I don't like that any more than I like Brennan saying it.
But we spent 2 years.
You have firm proof that someone's a traitor, which is a very, very serious matter.
I agree.
You shouldn't say it, and the President of the United States shouldn't say it.
I agree with that, but then the list goes longer on the chain with Adam Schiff and Swalwell, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, all of these people making statements that Trump is a traitor. All of these people.
I won't. I can't argue because I just don't know.
I do.
They said that, but they shouldn't say it. I'm my own man. One of my closest friends for the last 15 years was Justice Scalia. We used to argue all the time. We went to law school together. I admire that he was a great man. But we used to say to each other, "You're wrong about this," and we would talk about it. And occasionally, rarely, Justice Scalia would concede that, and I would concede it. I don't like this kind of talk. I really, really don't, and I'm not defending it. Now, maybe you want someone for your show that's going to say that every Democrat is right and every Republican is wrong. I'm not your person.
No, I'm not saying that at all, David, and I really appreciate your coming on to talk about your book of circumstances and stories compiled into your book. But what I'm saying is the American public has been subjected to this absolute loss of time for the last 2 years when we could have been talking about and doing something more with the economy, infrastructure, health care, national security, all of these things. And now the Democrats want to keep this thing going for another 2 years. It's got to stop someplace, and I hope it stops now.
Well, I think the collusion thing is settled. Now, first of all, Mueller didn't say anything. It was President Trump who kept attacking Mueller, so that I think a large part of the responsibility for keeping this in the public eye and diverting us is the fault, if I could say that, of the President of the United States. As far as the other issues, look, the President of the United States is Republican. The House was Republican. The Senate was Republican. Yes, they did nothing on all of those issues. I don't see why you are blaming the Democrats for something that the Republicans control.
Well, I think you'll find that if you listen to my program and know me, David, which you don't, and I don't know you, but I will say this. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I think the Republicans have absolutely dropped the ball. They didn't even put their uniform to play the game. They're absolutely repulsive to me because they haven't shown any backbone for the last 2 years. There. Does that make me more amenable? I hope so.
Well, it makes me respect you all the more.
Let's talk a little bit more about your book in the time remaining. Give us some scenarios, if you will, as to why people should read this book.
Well, the point is this. Look, the legal system is very important in this country. And a major part of it, which is ignored to a large extent, is the civil system. Lawsuits by people against people. Libel suits. And there have been some important libel suits in which I've been involved, including, as I said, General Westmoreland suing CBS for accusing him of lying to the president, of John Dean being accused of orchestrating the Watergate break-in. People should understand that. And I present that in a vivid and amusing account of a hypothetical lawsuit against Donald Trump, and as I said, an evangelical magazine. And I think that it's entertaining. You learn in the process. You see one scenario of how President Trump would react to being sued. You see how his lawyer operates and other people. It's a fun book, which I think is stimulating. There are twists and turns. There are unusual characters. Judge who chases women, lawyers who appear before him. You know, it's fun, and it's current, it's entertaining. There are pending libel suits against the president. Now that the Mueller investigation is over, I think it's time to look at other aspects of the legal system, and which is such an important part of our country and necessary for its functioning.
You know, I've got to hand it to you, David, because you're the first person I've talked to that's an author and a writer that could create an oxymoron of humor and then also politics, because, boy, right now it seems pretty serious to me.
Well, I share that. I mean, see, you know, we have to talk to one another. And as I said, I watch Fox, and occasionally, I don't watch it all the time, but I learn from it. I learn what people are thinking. Sometimes there are good points being made.
Well, you probably...
It's a shame that people are not listening to the other side's arguments and trying to understand them better.
I couldn't agree more with that. I totally agree.
It's just nothing Trump does is ever wrong. Nothing the Democrats do is ever right, and I just don't like that attitude.
Well, and there we have some common ground, because I think it's equal opportunity of getting together, shaking hands, and trying to come up with some moral high ground, and maybe a thought that might work for both sides. David, I really appreciate, I know you're probably mad at coming on an old redneck conservative show like mine, but I appreciate your coming on.
I love it.
Well,
I would love to be back.
Well, I certainly will put your name in my file, but I want to give a plug to your book right now. Let's make sure we hit that. It's called Moses versus Trump.
My last name is spelled D-O-R-S-E-N, and it's available on Amazon for $15.95.
All right. I'm going to get a copy, read it, and have you back. And I want to thank you, and I mean this, for taking the time to come on our program. And I enjoyed the conversation.
One of the best times I've had on radio.
Thank you, sir. God bless you, and come back soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I enjoyed the discussion with that man, and it sounds like an interesting book, kind of a fun book to read. Moses versus Trump, a contemporary novel written by David Dorson. So I wish him well. He said he's a liberal, and he knew he was in the lion's den when we invited him on. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm not going to back up to anybody on the liberal side. We got to get a weather forecast on. By the way, I have a question. And I need help on this. And it may be so elementary I'm overlooking it. But yesterday, I really did something stupid, and I put my cell phone in my shirt pocket, and I had I had ripped the piece of gum in half. Okay, a piece of gum in half. And it was a warm day yesterday, and I was working out in the arena, and I was doing outside work, and the wrapper around the gum somehow came undone, and the gum is stuck all over the face of my phone. And I'm not talking about little bitty pieces you can scrape off. I'm talking about it's smudged, it's stuck on. How do you get that stuff off? You can't use water on them, can you? How?
I'm just going to give you out an idea.
Are you one of these techies that knows everything?
Well, let me just say I've had my fair share of run-ins. Anyway, so it's called Goo Gone. You can actually get it at Walmart for like a few bucks or something if you don't want to, if you feel like anything at home's not working.
Okay, whoa. You can't put any liquid on the face, can you?
No, yes, you can. On the face of your phone, it's glass, so you just want to make sure that when you charge your phone and stuff like that, you're not getting the spray into the charging ports on your phone, and where you plug in your earbuds. Well, I'm talking about if you have an Android phone too, but anyway.
Don't get too high tech on me, young man, or you'll never work another day on this program.
Exactly. So, anyways, yes, your phone screen is glass. So if you feel like glass cleaner or anything like that isn't working, it's called Goo Gone.
Goo Gone. I got to write that down. Goo, like Goo, gone, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And, like I said, it's maybe a few bucks at Walmart. And so, you can just spray a little bit on there, wait maybe 30 seconds, let the spray do its thing for a bit, and then, just wipe it off.
Have you done something like this so that you have acquired all this knowledge?
Oh, like I said, I've had my fair share of run-ins. The Goo Gone I use in my car, like on my upholstery, like the leather and stuff like that.
Really?
Sticky stuff on it. Oh, yeah. I've used it to get some stuff off my paint. Not the best idea, but if you don't use a lot, it shouldn't affect your paint at all. And,
okay.
Things like that. It's a multi.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to take your. Do I have a call waiting?
No.
I thought I heard the phone. Anyway, I've got to do the weather, and then after the show, I'll get some goo going because I'm afraid if I put my cell phone up to my cheek, it's going to stick. It's got so much gum on it.
And see, that's the good thing is for the few bucks, you can get a pretty decent sized bottle, and the goo gong will, spread a long way. So you'll probably have that bottle still for quite a while.
Are they paying you a subsidiary fee to do all this?
No, but I wish they would.
Okay. Thanks, Wheels. Appreciate it, buddy. Thanks. Weather forecast brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they provide accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. They are busy right now. Let me tell you, tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, retirement planning, all of this and more. Boy, they're sharpening their pencils every 30 seconds. They're working hard for you, your family, and your business. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And caller, I'll be right back after the weather. Don't you go away. Here's Gina.
We're going to have some spring showers for today. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Expecting mostly cloudy skies with a high of 64. A slight breeze out of the south at about 6 miles an hour. Could see gusts as high as 21 miles an hour. Chance of rain showers and thunderstorms as we make our way into the evening hours. More rain showers after midnight as well. Expecting a low of 39. Tomorrow, chance of rain showers in the morning, then a slight chance of thunderstorms by the afternoon. Partly sunny skies as we get to tomorrow afternoon as well. Expecting a high of 53. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 33. By Friday, slight chance of rain and or possibly snow showers in the early morning hours. Chance of rain showers by Friday afternoon. Partly sunny skies. Expecting a high of 50. Mostly cloudy for Friday night and a low of 32. And as we take a sneak peek at the weekend, looks like we will see some sunshine and highs in the mid to upper 50s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb the Rain.
Oh, Gina, thank you. She does a great job. I talked to her earlier, and she's going to come by for a visit. We're looking forward to that. Hey, don't forget Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with locations in Burley and Rupert serving you with the best accounting services for you, your family, and your business. Like I said, get a hold of them today. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. This is your trucker buddy, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff. What do you got?
Okay, to get the stuff off your phone,
yeah,
take yourself a terry cloth, washcloth, and some WD-40.
Oh, doesn't
spray some of that WD-40 on the washcloth?
Oh.
And then gently rub the gum with that, and it will come off.
Have you ever done what I have done to my phone?
Well, something similar. When I used to drive over the road, for some reason, I used to get all kinds of goo on my phone. I don't know why.
Well, I will never, ever put a piece of gum that is opened in my pocket again. There's another factor to this story that needs to be said because my wonderful bride of 47 years let me know in no uncertain terms that shirt could not go through the washing machine as it is.
Yeah, well, use the WD-40 on the shirt, too, and it'll come out.
All right, my friend. Appreciate your call. God bless you, Jeff. Good to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Was there another call coming in, Wheels? I couldn't remember if I heard the cow again.
Yeah, give me one moment.
Oh, one moment. Time's up. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Oh, there's the cow. I knew it was out there. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. That Goo Gone we use at the library all the time because a lot of times you get sticky things, or if you pull off like a label off of something and it leaves some residue or sticky, that Goo Gone is really terrific stuff. What we get is just in a bottle. It isn't a spray, so it comes in more than one form, but it is really safe to use on anything.
You and Wheels. I mean, you must have teamed up. They should pay you for this. You've made now a commercial for Goo Gone that has lasted 15 minutes, and at my rate, you're making a lot of money, lady.
Well, thank you. It doesn't show up in my bank account.
You know, all the things that I get into during the course of the day, I wonder if they can make that Goo Gone in the form of a backpack.
It does come in various sizes, but I don't know if they carry one that big.
Oh, well, now, wait a minute. Okay. Hey, God bless you for your call. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, my. One that big. Okay. I got to take just a moment, and I want to say how much I love these two people. And I think a lot of you in the audience know who they are. I want to wish a very happy anniversary to Fred and Joyce Preston over in the Declo area. I have had the opportunity, and it's really been an opportunity, to know Fred and Joyce for a long, long time, and their friendship has been so appreciated by Deanne and I. And we've been fishing together, and old Fred, he's been giving me fishing lessons, and one day we went out on his boat, and I never caught so many fish in my life. And they're celebrating their anniversary today. And on behalf of Deanne and I and so many other people that know Fred and Joyce Preston, you know, God bless them. They are wonderful people, and my life has been made a whole lot better because I've known them for many years. Fred and Joyce, happy anniversary, and I mean that. Calls are welcome, 436-2244. As I also want to remind you about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, do they ever work for you? They're dedicated and responsive. You call them, make an appointment. They're going to sit down and say, what can we do for you? Well, then you can talk about your health insurance, your retirement planning, and maybe your business employee benefits. All of this and so much more at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Here's the number to call, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Next hour at 10:06, we've had a change in the scheduling for today. Normally on Wednesdays, we hear Dave Bego at 9:06. Well, he's going to be on next hour at 10:06. And then don't miss Dan Perkins coming up at 10:30, talking about Islam and the Muslim influence here in America. Going to be good. Right now, Wheels with his Goo Gone is going to hit the button, and we're going to the news. Here we go on a cloudy, overcast Wednesday, March 27th, third hour, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a big spring tire sale going on right now. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, I want to give a shout-out. And these people are out there working for you every day, doing a job that you don't want to do. You don't want to stand out there and pump a septic tank. Oh, no. You don't want to be in charge of sewer and sink drain line cleaning, and you don't want to handle the liquid waste removal. Oh, you better call Dino's Septic Service. Absolutely. They've recently expanded their business to better serve you and all the folks here in Southern Idaho. Absolutely fast, fair, friendly service. And the number to call, 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638. With a big truck that says, smells cargo on the way, Dino's Septic Service. Call them today. Holy moly! Back in Indianapolis, Indiana. Back where the sycamores are starting to bud out and everything's looking springish. Here we go with Dave Bego. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing today?
Not bad. What's going on in Mr. Bego's world?
Well, just been traveling. We were down in Florida and got back last night, and we had a big meeting today because in our industry there's a big certification process every couple of years. So it's called SIMS, so our company can be certified in it, and if so, that puts you in as a top rating of the top 1% of the cleaning companies in the country. And they were scheduled in here this morning for a meeting, and it went well, and we actually got through it quicker than I thought we would, so I became available.
Hey, Dave, let me ask you something. You've been on this program for over, a couple of years now, but I don't understand all that's to understand about your business. Now, you have cleaning services that go into various business company offices, factories, etc., and literally keep everything shipshape. Is that right?
Yeah. We started the cleaning company here in Indianapolis in 1989, and by the way, May 24th, we'll be celebrating our 30th anniversary.
Wow.
And we started, I cleaned my insurance agent's office space. Today we're in 43 states, and we've cleaned healthcare facilities and hospitals and corporate headquarters and manufacturing facilities, warehouses, school systems. And most of all of our stuff is upper end stuff.
Holy, 43 states. Okay, that means a lot of managers. That means a lot of people that you put your trust in to make sure that your company is represented correctly. How do you oversee all that manpower?
Well, you hire and develop a staff of good people that oversee it, and of course our company is a family business too. My wife works in it, my sister works in it, my daughter works in it. My oldest son works in it, and my brother-in-law works in it, his son works in it. We've had a specific way of designing and managing things. And, of course, we have a manufacturing company, and my youngest son runs that. And my brother-in-law, he runs our supply company. So we've just, and as we go through this certification process, too, we explain to them, how at your age are you not wanting to sell out and retire or stuff like that? And how do you keep running? I says, because of our management style and our people and our family. And, we try to hire good people that do good things, and we try to do things the right way.
Well, now, under what company name, if you don't mind my asking?
The cleaning company?
Yeah, the entirety of your operation. I mean, do you operate under Dave Bigo Enterprises, or what's it called?
No, it's called EMS Inc., Executive Management Services Incorporated.
Wow.
And we link all of our other companies under the Executive Management Services Group.
So you're involved in 43 states, and you're employing a lot of people. You are a capitalist. You've made it work. You started with basically just cleaning, you said, your insurance man's office. Wow. I mean, this is something to really wow at, and you're celebrating how many years in the next couple of days?
Not in the next couple of days, May 24th, 30 years.
Well, send me a piece of cake, man. I tell you what, I'm proud of you. 30 years and that kind of expansion. May I ask, at the point of being rude, how many employees do you have?
We have over 6,000 employees, and if we were like a lot of other cleaning companies who try to just hire part-time employees to do the work, we probably have 10 to 12,000, but we try to do things with full-time people. I mean, we have some part-time, but we try to do things the right way, and we try to pay our people more than what the industry does for an average, and have benefits for them. And like I say, we're not perfect, but we try to do the right things.
It sounds to me like people that have gone to work for your company, they're finding kind of a security. They're finding a family attitude. They're finding a benefit program that enhances their lives and their families' lives. And also you're kind of having a loyalty that's developed back there. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, it has, and people don't realize that in the cleaning industry, the turnover rate's about 200%.
Wow.
And, our company nationwide is between 20 and 30%, and most of that happens when we start new business. and you bring people in, and on the initial startups and that you have some turnover because people decide, well, I really don't want to be a cleaner and stuff like that. But once we get it all settled down, then we keep people for a long time.
6,000 employees and 43 states now. Are you planning on making any more expansion? I mean, how do you decide what state to go into or what region that would be new to your company?
Well, a lot of it's based on, customers and where they want us to go and what they want us to do. And, we expanded into areas that we never thought we would. Because they've come to us and said, we want you to go to this state or this area and things like that. And that's continuing to happen. And we think that we'll end up being in some states that we're a little concerned about, like California, because of the way they handle business out there and their taxes on businesses. And the unions are very strong out there, too. So, but we've got customers that are coming to us saying, you really need to look at working with us in California. So we may be out there someday.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Dave, I want to shift gears, and I really appreciate that information about you and your business. It opens up a whole new realm of thought for me and appreciation for you. I guess the obvious question this morning is, what did Dave Bego think yesterday when he heard that Jussie Smollett walked away from 16 felony charges, and it looks like money talks, and you know what walks?
Yeah, it's sad to see that, but that's the left for you and what they're doing to defend people that have supported them and helped them, get their tactics and agendas out there and that. And we're going to continue to see that type of stuff happen. And up in the Chicago area and with that circuit court up there, it doesn't surprise me at all.
It's just kind of the guy has all the attributes, if you will, of, the poor me attitude today. He's black, he's gay, he's very wealthy, and he's a Democrat. And he has friends in influential places like the Obamas and Kamala Harris. And for the rest of us, poor old people out here trying to make a living and abide by the laws, if we go through a stop sign, we'll probably end up with 30 days on bread and water. And this guy has 16 felonies, and he gets out free.
Yeah, well, you're looking at a real liberal area of the country up in Chicago, and of course, him being in the entertainment industry and that tends to be more liberal, and it doesn't surprise me a bit because these people, as you've heard me say many times, they don't like America and they want to bring it down.
You mentioned Chicago, and I was raised just 125 miles north of Chicago. What is the influence back there in the Midwest? What is the influence of the old 1920s and 30s influence of the mob bosses and everything else, and the illegalities and kind of the shady politician type attitude? Is it still that strong today?
Well, it is in some areas, Zeb. I mean, you don't see it in most of the cities and that, but there's still, it's crazy. It's like Chicago. They've enacted gun control laws, have been in place for many years and that, but they still have one of the highest murder in numbers in America every year, and it's because behind the scenes, the left is controlling everything up there, and but I thought it was kind of interesting. I didn't get to see it all last night, but I was watching on TV where the mayor of Chicago, who was worked with Obama in the White House and that, he was even upset about this guy getting off, and it just tells you what the push. This isn't your normal Democratic Party. This is even further left, and it's going to get worse.
Dave, you're a sharp guy and you follow the news. You know all the characters in the news, and you got to almost laugh. It's almost a comedy about former CIA chief John Brennan. Here's a guy that every day went to his office with the CIA, and people handed him all bits and tidbits of information about Central Intelligence all over the world. He supposedly had the best of everything handed to him, and then after he calls Donald Trump a traitor to the United States, and that he, John Brennan, had proof that Trump was a traitor to the United States. After all this comes out and they don't find collusion, John Brennan looks at the camera and said, "Oh, well, I based my opinion on bad information." Didn't that make you almost laugh in disgust?
Yeah, but it's typical of these people. They speak out of both sides of their mouth all the time, and American people need to understand that. And I'll say it again and again: don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. Because that tells you the real story.
The real story is, though, that they're not going to let this lay. I mean, you turn on the news and you've got bug-eyed Adam Schiff that's sitting there going, well, I just don't believe it. I think that report's a cover-up. I want to get more answers. And then you've got Kamala Harris saying that if she became president, she would prosecute President Trump. And then you've got old bug-eyed Cory Booker saying, I would not pardon Donald Trump if I was president. My question is, and I think you've already thought about it, when you get Kamala Harris and Booker saying they're going to prosecute or they wouldn't pardon him, first of all, you got to put him in jail. What's he been accused of, and what's the crime?
Well, that's exactly right. And, they throw out this stuff because they're trying to get brainwash and get certain people in America on their side and all that. And, it's a political motive. It has nothing to do with the truth. And or what's reality, and that's what you put up. But I don't think we'll ever see these people getting to a high level in this country anyway.
I hope not. I got to ask you too that yesterday the Senate voted on the absolutely imbecilic Green New Deal. Now, the Republicans voted 57-0 to throw it out of the Senate. But the interesting part of this vote, and I want you to comment on this, was that the Democrats didn't have any backbone, they didn't have any spine, and instead of voting yes or no, they just voted present. That scares me a little bit.
Well, no, Zeb, actually, what this tells you, and I tell people this, when I was fighting the SEIU, and I had to, they had me come to places and debate them. When I threw out things that were not true at all and didn't have any substance behind them and anything like that, they just shut up and they wouldn't talk. And that's kind of what's going on with this bill. The Democrats realized this bill had no substance to it, wasn't true and that, and instead of voting or saying anything, they just, stood back and did nothing. This is what they do, and this is why when you face these type of people, you've got to and do it professionally.
Yeah.
In a professional way, expose what they really are trying to do and why they're throwing this stuff out there, and that why it doesn't really make sense.
Dave, when they not Kamala Harris, but when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was touting and pushing support of this Green New Deal, it seemed like the Democrats were following along, being led by the nose with a ring in their nose. Oh, this is a great idea. It's going to clean up America and the world. They never gave any consideration whatsoever. These people that wear the wingtip shoes and the three-piece suits never thought once about agriculture. They never once thought about transportation. They never once thought about pharmaceuticals. They never once thought about air travel. All of this would have absolutely come to a screeching halt with a $93 trillion cost of the Green New Deal. And it just shows and amplifies, honestly, in blunt language, how dumb these people are.
Well, yeah, and what's even funny about that is the major unions like the AFL-CIO and I believe the SEIU and some others, they were fighting the bill too because, of course, what would happen when you have airplanes and vehicles and that quit being produced and all that, you're going to have millions of people across the country lose jobs, and a lot of them are going to be union workers in union plants.
You know, another story to kind of wrap up our conversation this morning, and it's getting sad to the point where I used to get mad. Now I'm getting sad about this because nothing's being done. 3,700 people. 3,700 people came to the border the other day and tried to jump the border, tried to force their way into the United States, and the Border Patrol is absolutely overwhelmed and overworked, and the Democrats sit back and still sit there with their snide little smiles and say, there is no border crisis.
Yeah, well, it's all about the Democratic Party and votes for the upcoming 2020 election, and that's what this is all about, as I said before, because they want these people to come in because they know they'll get them into the polls, and get them to vote even though they're not legal Americans, and because they control polling areas in different states across the country, and they'll get it done, and that's what this is all about. It isn't what's doing right for America and being honest and having integrity.
Well, you know, let's just assume that the numbers are correct, and there have been people far smarter than I am that have estimated on the Texas and Arizona, California borders, etc., that at this rate of basically an invasion with the different migrant marches that are happening, we're going to see a possible influx of 1 million illegal aliens try to attempt to get into our country this year. Dave, I have no idea what the resources are on the border, but the Border Patrol, how can they even attempt to handle 1 million people trying to come in and say, I don't care if you got a border or not, we're going to live here and you're going to take care of us?
Well, we don't, and you know, you're right, and the problem is that what we really need, and again, I wrote a blog on this several years ago on the immigration issue, and I really think what Trump needs to do is turn the thing over to all of our military, not just part of it, and let them just go down there and they'll close it down. And I wish they would do that and stop this stuff now.
I agree. I'm going to turn the floor over to you in the last minute or so. You got anything else you want to hit on this morning?
Well, yeah, I don't know if you know, but Nancy Pelosi is introducing a bill in Washington called the Paycheck Fairness Act. It's supposed to help women, you know, with more pay equality and all that. But in reality, and it sounds good and everything, and again, this is typical of the left and the far left, is that it sounds good and everything, but at the end of the day, the way it's designed is that women will actually lose equality and lose opportunities to work at places they want to, and have companies that provide benefits to give them, you know, part-time or a flexible schedule, and things like that, and have benefits that are more developed for the women that are working a flexible schedule and stuff like that, and that at the end of the day, it'll be tougher for women and harder on women than it will be helping them. But this is another typical thing where they're throwing something like this out there saying, we're trying to help you. At the end of the day, it doesn't have the it doesn't have the details that really help women.
Dave, how much traction or how many wheels does this bill have underneath it that it might succeed?
And we don't know yet, because it's just, you know, she's just introducing it now. It's supposed to move next week, so that the liberals can celebrate their what they call fictional equal pay day.
Fictional equal pay day. You know, in many bills like this, and you as an employer of over 6,000 people, you know this better than I, but in many bills like this, they're going as a flag bearer for the general public saying, we can help you, the Democrats have got a great idea. But really, in the long run, what they're doing is actually going to cripple that section of the workforce and probably create less job opportunity. Is that a fair assessment as to what might happen here?
Well, they're going to cripple in that because, you know, the women won't be because you think about it, a lot of women are moms and that, and they can only work maybe so many days a week or so many hours a day some days, and, you know, because they go up and down and everything like that. And they won't be, employers won't be able to set up schedules and benefits to handle that type of thing, because what it's going to say is, no, everybody gets this, and they get this, and they get this, and they got to work this and this and this. And, they're trying to make it so detailed and straight-lined that there's no flexibility to it. And the women, because of loss of flexibility, will lose jobs and won't be able to work jobs that have flexible hours and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Dave, I really appreciate your friendship, and I appreciate your working with me this morning. I had some problems with some different segment time changes. Thank you so much. God's blessings to you, your family, from Deanne and I, and we'll look forward to next week. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and thank you for working with me, and hope you have a great week.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much. Dave Bigo, I really, really appreciate his friendship on our program, and author, along with being a very great business entrepreneur. Thank you very much. What have I got to tell you about? Oh, big sale. Big sale. Hang on a second, Zeb. And this sale managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. You better believe it. It's going to be the Calvin and Fern Crawford auction. It's coming up this Saturday, March 30th at 11 o'clock over in Filer at 4200 North, 2400 East. Look for the signs, lunch by the Cook Shack, and it's going to be a ripping good sale with a lot of antiques and collectibles. Lots of them. Really, really good shape. Along with furniture and miscellaneous items, shop equipment like a new Hawk 220 scroll saw, and much, much more. All of this coming up on Saturday, this Saturday, the 30th, starting at 11 o'clock. Don't forget the Bennett Boys Auction Service with the Calvin and Fern Crawford auction in Filer. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Right now, we're going to send it over to Wheels. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, thank you very much, and welcome back to our last half hour. There is a gentleman coming up next that has always been a straight shooter on my program, and I respect that. I'm a straight shooter, too, and I'm just going to state right up front, I am very, very concerned about what's going on with Islam in our country of America, the Muslim forces that are alive and well in our country of America. And with me next is an Islamic nuclear terrorism expert. He knows about Islam. I want him to talk about that this morning, and that's Dan Perkins. Good morning, Dan. How are you?
Oh, one more time, sir. I just barely got him on.
All right. Once again, I want to remind everybody that I'm very blessed to have this gentleman on our program, and he has been many times in the past, and has written a book called The Brotherhood of the Red Nile Trilogies, and he's a Islam nuclear terrorist expert, and that's what I want to talk about this morning. My dear friend Dan Perkins. Good morning, Dan. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
Well, I got to tell you, Dan, on this program, I don't want any baloney, and you've never given us any baloney. You've been a straight shooter, and I respect that. But right now, there are movements in this country, and you know I'm telling the truth, that whether you're a small-town radio announcer or whether you're on a syndicated broadcast, Islam and Muslims cannot be touched. They seem to be without any touch of criticism, and I'm scared. Am I wrong?
No. In fact, I've written about this many times over the last year or so. For the longest time, Zeb, in the Democratic Party, the protected class, meaning the class that the group of people that the Democratic Party would go to the wall for, were black people. About 2 years ago, that changed. Now the protected class in the Democratic Party are Muslims.
When you say that,
we absolutely saw that with the young lady from Minneapolis, who had her anti-Semitic remarks, which caused the House reluctantly to pass a worthless resolution about bias and bigotry, which was predominantly dealt with crimes against Muslims, not about the issue of anti-Semitism. In addition, notice that the woman who was responsible for creating this problem was not censured, was not discussed. Her name did not appear at all in the document. Now, in a piece that I wrote recently, understand that one of the tenets of Sharia law is a provision called taqiyya. Taqiyya gives the Muslim the right, when they are discussing things with infidels, non-believers, us, they have the ability under the law, their law, to lie, cheat, and steal, and never tell the truth. So when this woman said that she was going to apologize, she was apologizing as a Sharia-compliant woman. She was apologizing to infidels, which means her apology was worthless. And I said in the piece that I would expect her, even after the resolution passed, I would expect her to continue to speak out.
Dan,
as a result, that's exactly what she's done.
Yeah. Dan, in your opinion, and I value your opinion on this show, we, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are we with your concerns about what I would call a Muslim takeover of our society and our values in this country, and also politically? What are your fears regarding that scale? Where do you think we're at?
I said in an interview this morning, Zeb, that when on the day of the attack of 9/11, there were 1,200 mosques in the United States. Now there are over 2,700 mosques in the United States. I believe that the Muslim population, based on what I've been able to ascertain, the Muslim population in the United States is now greater than the Jewish population in the United States. So they are growing in power and influence every day. And all we have to do is look at Michigan and Minnesota to see exactly what's taking place in Europe. And that is, these people will not, because their religion, and I shouldn't say that, but people speak about it being a religion. It's not really a religion. But the Muslim believers believe that the Quran and Sharia law forbid them to assimilate with Christians and Jews, which is why we have concentrated populations in Michigan, in Minnesota, and in Ohio, and in Seattle, Washington, and on, where they've created these fiefdoms where they are not complying with the U.S. law, and they're creating their own enclaves, just like they've done in France and Germany and Spain and Italy and the U.K. and all over Europe. They are dividing the country. And we had the first 2 women elected to the Congress, Muslim women, and I say to people, if you want to get a sense of the power that these people have, the day Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were in the president's office, Christmas Eve, was the high water mark of Nancy Pelosi's political career. Because after Christmas and New Year's, she was made Speaker of the House, and within 6 weeks, she lost control of the House, specifically the Democratic Party, to those 3 women. And they have no regard for her. Ocasio-Cortez at the South by Southwest conference several weeks ago said openly and blatantly, if she's not going to impeach Donald Trump, then I'm in charge. I'm in charge. And I'll get it done. And so what's happening is these 3 women are the spearhead. And we've now got 100 congressmen and senators who are in favor of her Cortez's new Green Deal, and so when the Muslim women started speaking up, and Cortez, they literally took control away from the Democratic leadership, including Nancy Pelosi. That's how rapidly it changed. And Zeb, it's 2, and I'm not demeaning here. I'm just dealing with the facts. 2 women, less than 6 weeks into their first term of Congress, in the Congress of the United States, have taken control of the Democratic Party.
I agree. Totally agree. Dan, let me give you a little scenario as to what happened to me personally a couple of years ago. Our own Idaho Congressman Mike Simpson was on my program, and we were talking about Muslim influence in this country, and I was very concerned at that time with the Obama administration and the Muslim Brotherhood as part of his appointees to his cabinet. I voiced that, and our own congressman from the state of Idaho basically lumped me in and called me a McCarthyist because of my concern. Why is it that people have so many deaf ears and blind eyes as to what's going on and sympathies for Muslims?
Well, I have to say to you, Zeb, most of the time almost all the time when I do interviews with you, you ask hard questions. And this was not a hard question. This is what they call in the media a softball, because I've been answering that question for the last 2 years. It all comes down to one word, Deb. Fear. They have intimidated the leadership of the Congress and in both the Senate and the House. They have intimidated because of one thing. All those people who might have want to go against the Muslims all remember the beheading of the American reporter and the beheading of hundreds and hundreds of people and the brutality of this organization. And they understand that fear is on the Muslim side, not on our side.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dan, and that's what I respect about you. You're a straight shooter on the questions. We have a caller with a question. Caller, I'm going to ask you to keep it brief. Go ahead, please.
Well, we can't be naive here, and we've got to be strong. And for some reason, we think that these Muslims or any immigrant that is from a violent country, a broken-down system, that they're going to come here and be like Americans that were born and raised here. These people we are infidels. In the Quran, it says, I can lie, I can do anything to an infidel I need to advance the cause of Allah. We can't be naive and weak. I'll hang up.
Speak to the caller, please, Dan.
Absolutely, because I get this question all the time, and I go back to the trilogy, Zeb, the trilogy which is the Brotherhood of the Red Nile. The very first book in that trilogy's title is A Terrorist Perspective. I believed when I wrote the book, and I believe today, that we as American people do not understand the tenets of the Muslim people, what drives them and what motivates them to want to say death to America. And I prove that for the best about that book. I would ask the host like you, what percentage of your audience has ever read the Sharia law of the Quran? And if I got 1 to 2%, that was a good day. So how do we as individuals in this country, including our leadership, how do we fight them if we don't understand what they believe and how they're going to affect us?
Yeah.
And that's why my book was so important. It began the education process to help people understand not only why they hate us and want to kill us, but how they can kill us. And that's so important.
Dan, we have another caller with a question, and then I've got some more before we have to say goodbye for this morning. Caller, real fast. Go, please.
Dan, I'd like to know how we identify these people on the street.
Well, the hijab is an easy one for the women. That's you can see that because you notice the congressman one of the two Muslims wears her hijab, the one from Minnesota. It's hard to say, because we have such a multicultural society. It's hard. Well, that person looks like a Muslim. Well, that's not really the right thing to do because it could have been an Indian. That could have.
Yes.
And Muslims aren't necessarily tied to race. Only a certain color of people or a certain kind of people is a Muslim because Muslim converts are all over the world.
That's right. Dan, I've got to mention this.
Thank you.
Thank you for your call, caller. I appreciate that. Dan, let me mention this to you. I'm very, very close friends with a lady that I think you know, and that's Brigitte Gabriel for Act for America. Brigitte has been on my program at least 15, 20 times, and I know her personally. We've visited, etc. All that being said, now the Southern Poverty Law Center has come out and said that her organization and her personally are one of the top 10 hate groups in America. And our own local newspaper, the Times News, picked up on that story with the SPLC and condemned Brigitte Gabriel, a lady that I have the highest respect for. What are your thoughts about how the condemnation against people that are Christians in this country is becoming worse every day?
It's because we as a society we're responsible. We get what we propagate. And we advocated to the far right, the far left of the Democratic Party and other organizations, terrorist organizations, to get control. I think it's changing, and there are a couple of things that are changing it. But the Southern Poverty Law Center is absolutely a terrorist front. CARE is a terrorist front. But we can't see that because we haven't opened our eyes. We need people like me and you and others who continually talk about this to let their audiences know that these are terrorist organizations. They are not pro-American, and you can tell, generally speaking, that they're not favorably disposed to America if they always come out with they're racist. If they're racist and they use that to describe a person or condemn a person, that's usually a pretty good indication that these are people who are not interested in America from a positive standpoint. They're interested in America and tearing it down.
Dan, you mentioned earlier, and in the time remaining, answer this for me, please. You said that the Muslim influence and the political influence and the media influence is so much in favor of Islam and Muslims. How can we, the general public, overcome this? I see a diminishment of Christianity. I see the downplaying of Christianity, and I see people condemning Christianity in favor of Islam taking center stage. Am I wrong?
Not totally, but there are things that are changing, and I have written about this too. The left, in my opinion, showed its, over the last year, it showed its true colors. It's socialism, it's communism. But the left also made what I believe is a huge mistake and will be reflected as a major campaign issue in the 2020 campaign. When the left in New York decided to pass legislation that a woman on the delivery table could have an abortion, and they could take a healthy 8-pound baby girl with hair, eyebrows, eyelashes, teeth coming in, fingernails and hands and toes, and kill it, that's a problem. And that's the idea that we can create this new category of an after-birth abortion it has caused an outrage in this country. And I think that abortion will in fact be one of the major issues in the 2020 campaign.
Well, I certainly appreciate...
It's an example, Seb, of showing Americans beginning to stand up.
I hope so. I hope so. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so proud to have this man on my program. As I said, the master storyteller, author of the Brotherhood of the Red Nile trilogies, and an expert on radical Islam. Dan, thank you for coming on the program. Don't make yourself a stranger. Come back soon. Thank you again.
Anytime. Thank you, sir. Take care.
Dan Perkins, and a valued friend of this program with his opinions and his knowledge, and I certainly want to say thank you. I've got a story tomorrow in the first hour that is going to solidify every single thing that I mentioned in this last segment with Dan Perkins, and it happened in Pennsylvania just recently. A slamming and condemning of Christians and a promotion of Islam. We're going to talk about that first hour tomorrow because it makes me furious. Caller, real quick, I've got to get a weather forecast on. Go fast.
Well, the guest you had that was friends with Scalia and he seemed to be so naive. And, you know, it's like they don't even come out of their house and see what's going on. How can a man that's lived back there all his life think that the left or the evil isn't real and a real threat? He just seemed like a nice guy, which is great. But in this world, nice guys, they end up places we don't want to be.
I think you will agree with me, Randy. Randy, I think you will agree with me that during the course of our conversation, I painted him into about 6 different corners that he couldn't get out of.
I mean, I knew you were going to do it, but I figured you might be, you know, very gracious, and because you're the host, I was instantly called. Not that I was going to do your job or anything, but I just thought, well, how can you think that way? Give us 2 years of investigating Hillary and the DNC and everything else. 2 years, like they did Trump.
I've got to run, but I painted him into those corners when he said that Nixon was a crime and this other wasn't. I'll tell you what, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Randy, thank you for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you. Caller number 2, I'll be right there. Don't go away. I'll be right back. I want to remind everybody about our weather quickly with Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, with Don Scarrow and his entire staff. And you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Delicious meats, whether it's the pork ribs or the tri-tips or the bratwurst or the bacons, whatever. It's all great for you and your family. Scarrows Meats in Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're going to have some spring showers for today. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Expecting mostly cloudy skies with a high of 64. A slight breeze out of the south at about 6 miles an hour. Could see gusts as high as 21 miles an hour. Chance of rain showers and thunderstorms as we make our way into the evening hours. More rain showers after midnight as well. Expecting a low of 39. Tomorrow, chance of rain showers in the morning, then a slight chance of thunderstorms by the afternoon. Partly sunny skies as we get to tomorrow afternoon as well. Expecting a high of 53. Partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 33. By Friday, slight chance of rain and or possibly snow showers in the early morning hours. Chance of rain showers by Friday afternoon. Partly sunny skies. Expecting a high of 50. Mostly cloudy for Friday night and a low of 32. And as we take a sneak peek at the weekend, looks like we will see some sunshine and highs in the mid to upper 50s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebit Duran.
Thank you very much, Gina. Well done. And you can treat yourself to the best of Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Call them. Find out more. 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Caller, I've got exactly a minute and a half. Go fast.
They hung up, sir.
Oh, well, shame on them. Let's see, what else have I got cooking here? Tomorrow on the program, we've got an open forum, of course, first hour. We're going to discuss this story in Pennsylvania. I'm not going to give anything away right now, but it involves prayer. It involves prayer. And I want to talk about that first and foremost in the first hour tomorrow. Then, of course, the Chamber Report and Rita Ramsey, Cassia County School Days, and, of course, our Business Salute and others are going to be on the air tomorrow, so don't miss it. Want to remind you, too, quickly about your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with not only the best of tires, but also the best of brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. But right now is their big spring tire sale. Oh, they have it every year. It's fantastic, saving you money on the best of tires, all the different tread designs, all the sizes, everything for your cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, you name it. They've got them at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Please stop in and talk to the professionals. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, better believe it, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Real quick, I mentioned on the air yesterday, I've had some calls. I want to repeat it, that the world champions, Jake Barnes and Clay O'Brien Cooper, the legends in team roping, are going to have a team roping school up at Meridian at Dave Stucker's Arena on June 1st and 2nd. Actually, it's going to start on the 31st for the beginners just starting into roping and go on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 31st, June 1st and 2nd. For reservations to get into this school, call Dave Stucker at 208-866-3444. Gonna be a dandy with the best, the legends, Jake Barnes, Clay O'Brien Cooper. We're going to wrap it up for today and say that's it. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:06 for more Zeb at the Ranch. And we appreciate your calls. We appreciate your opinions. Keep it up. And we always end the program by saying the way things were are the way things ought to be. And the world needs more cowboys. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06.